Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. My name is Nur Azrina binti Zulkifly and I'm from Bachelor of Nutrition Science Year 3. The title of my final year project is the relationship between home environment, physical activity levels and sedentary behavior in children, a systematic review protocol. Today I would like to present the proposal from my final year project. So this is the content which I would discuss today. I will start my presentation with the first sections of the proposal, which is the background of the study. It is divided into two parts, which is introductions and also literature review. For the introduction of this study, childhood obesity has become one of the most serious public health concerns, with over 340 million children and also adolescents aged 5 to 19 years old are either overweight or obese. Factors in home environment is closely related to childhood obesity as it has an important influence on physical activity and also sedentary behavior. So, it is important to provide physical activity opportunity while creating a home environment that discourages the sedentary behavior in children. The second part of the background of the study is literature review. For childhood obesity, the prevalence of children and also adolescents aged 5 to 19 years old who are obese has increased dramatically from 1% in 1975 to 6% in girls and 8% in boys in 2016. WHO has reported that about 41 million of children under the age of 5 are either overweight or obese. Childhood obesity also is associated with the effect on the physical and also psychosocial of the children. For the second part, physical activity and sedentary behavior. Physical activity is defined as any bodily movement that produced by the contraction of skeletal muscles which lead to the increase in energy expenditure, while sedentary behavior use the energy lower than 1.5 MET in sitting or reclining. A study has reported that higher frequency, intensity and also duration of the physical activity with a low time spent on sedentary behavior will lead to a greater health benefit. The next part is home environment. The example is such as availability and also accessibility of physical activity equipment and also the parental role modeling and their policy to support a healthy lifestyle. It is proven that children aged 4 to 7 years old are 3.5 to almost 6 times more likely to be active if their parents are active. The last part of the literature review is the association between the home environment, physical activity levels, and also sedentary behavior. Home environment can affect the physical activity behavior through the opportunity to become physically active or to be sedentary. Tandon et al. Also reported that 48 and 42% of children's overall sedentary time and also moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity, respectively, is accumulated at home. The second section of this proposal is the rationale. The rationale of this proposed study is that home environment can influence physical activity and also sedentary behavior of children as they receive higher exposure to stimuli in their home compared to other settings. There are previous systematic review that link the home environment to physical activity and also sedentary behavior, but the review is only limited to school children and also adult populations. There is no systematic review on which the population is on general children. So the aim of this study is to complement the prior review by including the preschool children and also updating on the latest findings on the associations of home environments, physical activity levels and also sedentary behavior in children. Then the objective of this study, which is to review systematically the existing literature that examine the relationship between home environment, physical activity level and also sedentary behavior in children. Next, for method, it is divided into 7 sections. We will conduct a computer search for English language literature from electronic databases, Scopus, and also PubMed related articles, as well as the reference list of the existing literature between 2010 and the second week of June 2020 to retrieve the eligible studies. This systematic review will be developed following the PRISMA guideline. The first section is eligibility criteria. For the inclusions, the type of participant that we choose is children aged 4 to 12 years old with no sex, race, or socio-economic status restriction will be applied. Next is the type of the interventions. We will include study on the associations between the home environment, physical activity level, and sedentary behavior. Then, for the type of the comparisons, comparator are not applicable as this research design is either cross-sectional or prospective cohort. For the outcome measures, study that measures the association and the risk between the exposures, physical activity, and also sedentary behavior of children using appropriate tools such as questionnaires, interviews, and also direct observation will be included. Lastly, the type of the study design will be only the observational studies, as the aim is to examine the associations and it is conducted in a non-controlled setting. Next is exclusion criteria. This proposed study do not include study with setting not within the home environment such as school compounds, and also study with combined independent measures such as home environment and neighborhood facilities. Experimental studies such as study that include the interventions component and study with missing info or the outcome is not measured also will be excluded. And the articles which is not in English language and published before the year of 2010 also will be excluded. The second section is information sources. To identify the relevant studies, the following electronic databases will be searched, which is using PubMed and also Scopus. The third section is search strategy. PubMed and Scopus databases will be searched using the combination of the keywords as shown in the slides. We will also manually examine the reference list of the existing literature to retrieve other eligible studies. The search strategy will be based on the following components of the participants, interventions, outcome measures, and also study design. The fourth section is study selections. Two authors, which is myself and my supervisor, will independently screen the titles and also abstract of the retrieved studies which has been identified by the search strategy. Then the potentially eligible studies will be re-evaluated by reading the full text. In the event of disagreement, the third author's view will be questioned. A flow diagram based on the PRISMA guidelines will illustrate the study selection process. The fifth section is the data collection study. The data will be extracted into the tables which is available on Appendix 2. The first author, which is myself, will complete the data extractions from the selected study on the associations of home environment, physical activity levels, and also sedentary behavior in children. Then the second author, which is my supervisor, will check the input for accuracy and also consistency and make clarifications if needed. The third author will resolve the disagreements regarding the data extractions. The next section is data item. The following data and also information will be extracted from each of the included study. The first data to be extracted is on characteristics of the study, which include the primary author, the year of publications, the country, and also the study design. The next data to be collected is on characteristics of the participants, which include the sample size and also age of the participants. For the type of outcome measures, the extraction of data will be on the physical activity variables such as frequency, durations, type and also intensity of physical activity, and also sedentary behavior variables such as durations, and home environment exposure, and the main finding, which is the association between these three. The last section for method is the assessment of the study quality. The quality assessment tool that will be used in this systematic review is the Effective Public Health Practice Project, or EPHPP. The reason why I choose these tools is because it can assess the quality of study of any study designs, including RCT and also non-RCT. This tool assesses 6 dimensions, and each of the dimensions will be rated as strong, moderate, or weak. Another 2 additional dimensions, which is intervention integrity and also analysis, will be scored using specific and respective questions. The dimensions are selection bias, study designs, confounder, blinding, data collection methods, and withdrawal and also dropout. The next one is on appendix. Appendix 1 is on the search strategy used in the PubMed and also Scopus. Next, Appendix 2 is the data extraction instrument. Then, Appendix 3, which is Gantt chart. This proposed study will be done in 9 months, which start from May 2020 to January 2021. Lastly, Appendix 4, which is milestone. This is the details of the process for this study. This is the reference that I use for this study. That's all from me. Thank you.